Hello, good afternoon or good morning to everyone. It depends of your country. And welcome to a new edition of Smart Talks by Mespack. This time it is a pleasure for us to present this webinar by the hand of Fuji, one of our stellar partners. I am Monica Cuatracasas, the Communication Manager at Mespack. Nice to greet you. And today we are delighted to have you join us for this session entitled Discover Groundbreaking Innovations in Pre-Made Pouch Filling Solutions, where we will explore more in detail the latest pouches from Fuji and the solutions for filling them with Mespack's HF series. The webinar is scheduled to last approximately 45 minutes and will be presented by our experts, Mark Opperman, business developer at Fujisil, and Kyle Scalise, area sales manager, at Mespack. Following the presentation, we will allocate around 10 minutes for questions and answers. And so please feel free to submit your questions during the session through the questions and answers sections below. The session will be recorded and shared with those who have registered later. Okay, so now, let me introduce Mark Opperman, business developer at Fujisil. Mark has spent many years successfully managing selective sales and introducing account management within Fujisil Europe. A decade ago, he transitioned to global account management, where his ambition remains to be a trusted partner, contributing to the corporate goals of his clients. Mark is focused on shaping company strategy and driving market developments with the goal of delivering exceptional customer satisfaction through strong, loyal partnerships. Good morning, Mark. Glad
Good
you are
morning,
here
Monica.
you today.
Good
Well,
morning there. Too much credit for a life of hard work. Nice
thank
to
you.
see you.
Thank you to be here with us. Thank you. Now I'd like to introduce Kyle Scalise, sales manager at Mespack. Kyle has been with Mespack for 10 years, identifying growth areas, building customer relationships, and finding unique solutions for the packaging needs of our customers. Within a background in public relations and marketing communications, Kyle has extensive experience in the sector, focusing in technology, customer, and internal operations. Good morning, Kyle.
Morning, Monica.
How things are
Good to
going?
see you again.
The same to me. Okay. Thank you both for your contributions to this session. And with nothing further to add, let's proceed with the presentation. So today we are going to cover different topics about pre-made pouches. But first, let me introduce you just a little bit, a quick Mespack overview. Uh, Mespack, headquartered in Barcelona, is a global leader in flexible packaging and equipment for consumer packaged goods. We are known of our innovation in creating sustainable packaging solutions. Mespack has been part of Duraban since 2015, a leader playing in the world of industrial equipment, headquartered in Illinois. Duraban is a global engineered equipment company with manufacturing, sales, and services facilities throughout North America, Europe, and Asia. Duraban offers immediate and lifelong aftermarket support across different sectors that you can see here in the slide, serving food processing, packaging, and material handling industries worldwide through its diverse portfolio of operating companies and brands that you can see here on slide. Around Mespack, our talent engineering team designs customized integrated solutions for primary and secondary packaging. But here you can see that we are located in Barcelona. We have established in 1994 as HFF OEM, and we have nowadays a worldwide sales and services network. We are part of Duraban, as we said before, and our large portfolio is we serve this large portfolio around the world. We are now 380 employees, 80 engineers, and 120 service techs. And our manufacturing and commercial offices around the world are around 70,770 square meters. Okay. And regarding our industry, so you can see that we cover different industries like food, beverage, pet food, pharma, personal care, and home care, among others. And on our portfolio, so we offer design customized integrated solutions for primary, secondary packaging and end of line processes. And with our extensive portfolio, we offer high precision, efficient, and versatilized horizontal form, film, and seal machines for flexible packaging, including machinery for pre-made pouches that you will see here today in our webinar, and a wide range of vertical form, film, and seal equipment. Additionally, we provide hydroforma machines for water-soluble pots and end-of-line equipment to fit your secondary packaging needs, offering you turking solutions if it's required. So for you to know, at Mespack, we are a really commitment to sustainable packaging solutions, and our focus is on developing special monomaterial packaging options which are easier to recycle and reduce waste. So this marks the beginning of introduction to Mespack and providing you the opportunity to familiarize more or less yourself with who we are. And now it's turn to Fuji Seal. So Mark, I'll pass you the floor. You have the remote control now.
Thank you, Monica. The slides are not visible for me. Can you bring the slides up?
Now you have the
Monica?
control?
Yeah, I have the control. I don't have the slides.
Okay, I can pass you for you. Is this okay, Mark?
I'm not seeing the slides. That's the issue.
Can you see, Kyle, the slide?
Yes, I can see them.
Well, okay. Oh, there we go. Yes, sorry. Yeah,
Okay.
in the wrong screen.
Perfect.
Well, thank you so much for that introduction there. Fuji Seal indeed happily cooperates together now with Mespack. We're in this partnership where we are going to help the market to get the pouch introduced into new packaging means in your factories. So Fuji Seal is a global supplier of packaging materials with factories around the world, the States, Europe, Asia, Japan. We provide mainly 3 product groups, which are shrink sleeves, pressure sensitive labels, and spouted pouches. We would also supply the equipment that comes along with those materials and the services that you require to get them to operate well. In this specific case of pouches, we work together with Mespack, and the machinery know-how of the filling comes from Mespack. We work together in this partnership and try to make sure that systems work well at customers' factories. The control is in your care, I think, at the moment. There we go. Thank you so much. So the most important part of modern packaging is the sustainability angle. So we're trying to make sure that all our materials are sustainable, and that means that they are we're following the principles of the 3 R's: reduce, reuse, and recycle. And that means that our packaging is fully designed for recycling. Actual recycling obviously depends on the recycling industry, and together we should all work forward towards circular packaging. And therefore, all our materials are becoming mono materials, where in the old days Everybody knows pouches were typically multi-materials with PEs and PETs and aluminums and whatnot in there. Today, materials are all monomaterials. We then go to the next slide, and we see that Fuji around the world is present in 15 countries. We've got close to 6,000 people, and we turn around about 1.3 billion in sales. In the pouch division, we produce about 1 billion pouches every year. Can you get me the control again? Yeah, thank you. These are the materials that show you the shrink sleeves, the pressure-sensitive labels, and the spouted pouches. So in addition to pure decoration, we're also involved in the packaging itself, so the container itself. Then we supply the machines that support those materials. Obviously, they are well connected, so we can guarantee performance in customer locations. The machines they run with the high performance, high efficiencies on the materials that we provide, but obviously also on materials that others supply. And also you can run the machines with materials of other companies. Underlying supportive services, that would mean that maybe every packaging material has his little own specifics around design and how to create an artwork and how to get it onto a packaging material. We make sure that we identify the right materials for your application, and we support obviously the ramp up and the startup of processes. Then the topic I would like to bring to the attention today is mostly the Fuji pouch. The Fuji pouch is a spouted pouch, as many others are. But the only difference is that the Fuji pouch has a unique shape. That shape is visible here. You can see that the container is almost like a bottle because it's cylindrical, and that is created by the fact that we have two gussets, one at the top and one at the bottom. In your screen, you now see the so-called inverted pouch, which is a pouch that stands on its cap. But it's the same Fuji pouch, again, with the two gussets, top and bottom. The advantage of this shape is that it is more compact. So for marketeers, maybe not ideal, but for sustainability, obviously, the better format, because it uses a lot less materials than a typical doi pack would do. A typical triangular shaped doi pack will always have headspace and will use therefore more materials than this Fuji pouch, which you can fill almost brim full, which then also introduces the benefit that there is no air inside the pouch and therefore less risk of oxidation and henceforth a longer shelf life. So besides a unique appeal on shelf, a shape that is attached to the Fuji pouch, it's not only different from the doi pack, but it's obviously also different from the rigid packaging. Then these pouches are equipped with many very different dosing devices that can be pumps, that can be dosing caps like you see here. It can be straightforward closures. On that fitment, you can attach any dosing device you would prefer. And like I said, it then all forms into a sustainable pack with a good shelf life. It said a little bit about that it had the word there sold at premium price, and that is the effect we see currently in the American market, where these products that are converted from rigid packaging, which you see in the top of the screen, into flexible packaging, typically go at a better price than before. So whereas today people are competing between themselves in either jars or cups or bottles or whatnot, they would now stand out in that pouch and can have a premium reward for that packaging. These examples that you see here are the proof that out there on shelf products deliver a higher margin than the traditional packaging. Here you see the effect of on-shelf packaging in between classic cups. The pouch would stand out. And I realize very well that at one point in time, when everybody has converted, that effect is gone. But today, it clearly is a means to stand out, and it clearly is a way to attract consumer attention. And we all know that a consumer makes a choice to select the packaging mostly in store and mostly in a split second. And when the eye is caught by a differentiated pack, then the deal is almost done. So it typically has a positive effect on turnover on shelf. We spoke a bit about the different caps. We show you one cap here. There is, like we said before, many different options. The cap, which is most prominent here, the blue one in the center, it has a big valve, which is typically used for viscous products, like maybe sour cream or peanut butter, or like a guacamole. These caps are made in the same material as the fitment, as the pouch itself. So the laminate, the fitment, the cap, and the valve would all come in PE. Often there is other forms of PE, but this is a pure PE valve, and henceforth the entire packaging would be recyclable in the PE stream. Obviously, other caps are possible without a valve or with smaller valves or with, like I said before, pumps or whatnot, dosing devices. The application is in many different products. Often we use a knife to get something out of a jar or a tub or a bottle is poured, and it stores then air in the remaining top, or maybe you would apply a product from a cup with a spoon. At any rate, you empty out the packaging and air takes the place of the product. In the case of a pouch, which is all dosed through the nozzle, no air enters into the pouch, with as a consequence that the product inside remains free from oxidation. You can also imagine that because nothing goes into the pouch, the hygiene level is a lot nicer than maybe in a jar or in a cup. It's a convenient way of dosing, but it's also a lot more hygienious than an open jar or an open cup. We spoke about convenience, about the oxidation, pressure, the shelf appeal on pack, the sustainability, and ultimately the evacuation. You can get all the product out simply by pushing on the pouch, and you can be sure that there's no residual product left when the packaging is wasted. The benefit thereof obviously being high on sustainability again, because if you have to remake a product, that is from a sustainability standpoint obviously the heaviest burden. Again, the same topics essentially. It's convenient, it's easy to store, and it has less oxidation. It's cleaner, it's more hygienic. These are a few forms that you can imagine. So the pure cylindrical form on the right-hand side in that blue rectangular, but you can also shape the pouches any way you prefer, obviously with the limitations in geometry that come from the physics, but there is freedom of shape to a degree. You can also put the spout in the top, on the side, in the center, or at the bottom. And in that way, you can create your own style of pouch. The material, the laminate, comes in multiple layers, but all the layers are in PE, and they allow for recycling in the PE stream. Typically, you would maybe require a barrier, and besides EVOH, you can also apply maybe an ALOX or a SIOX barrier to improve water vapor transmission or reduce water vapor transmission, and to retain fragrance inside the pouch, because we're looking at food products here, but you can imagine that these pouches would also be very suitable for maybe cosmetic products or for fabric care or home care products. This is the diagram of the supply chain simplicity. Whereas today we all know that in fast-moving consumer goods, typically people make containers either with a hole through the wall or maybe with a in-house container production. That can still be done, so it is still possible to use horizontal form-fill seal. But in the starting phase, maybe you don't want to go and bother with making your containers yourself. So we would then do that for you, and we would provide you with a pre-made pouch, which you then simply fill in a filling machine provided by the partnership here. So the fitment and closure would be sourced by Fuji Seal. We would make that pre-made pouch for you, and then that would go into your factory, where you would then fill that in an HF series produced in Barcelona by Mespack. The alternative to pre-made pouches would be horizontal form-fill seal. And I think that what is important here is to realize that these monomaterials have they have a melting temperature, which is, all the layers have a melting temperature that lies very close together. And the process of making that pouch and making a strong seal and a strong bag that is not only drop test resistant, but also provides your entire supply chain, that is in a way more challenging than it was before, when we had a surface layer of PET and an inner layer of PE with very different melting temperatures. In the old days, we could apply a lot of heat to simply make a strong seal. Today, we have to do that more carefully because these temperatures lie closer together. And that is where the partnership with Mespack works out so well. The laminate is resistant to heat on the outside, whilst it seals easily on the inside. And the setting of the HF series of Mespack, the settings of the HFFS series of Mespack would then provide efficient processing. The risk is always that you slow down your operation to make a strong seal. In this case, we lose hardly any efficiency. We can seal these new laminates with the efficiency which is within 5% from the original laminates. So very high speed production. Then I would like to hand the controls to Kyle here, who's going to explain the equipment that operates on either the PreMade pouches or on the form, fill, seal laminates. Kyle.
Thank you, Mark. Good morning, good afternoon, everybody. Again, my name is Kyle Scalise. I'm a regional account manager for Mespack in the U.S. I'm actually located at our U.S. headquarters, which is in Wooddale, Illinois, not far of a drive from our corporate headquarters in Downers Grove, Illinois. And with that, we can get started. So today we're going to be talking about the HF series machine. The HF series machine is a fantastic machine, especially with our strategic partnership with Fuji Seal, where we can take spouted pouches, whether they be on the corner spout, top spout, inverted pouches, as Mark had mentioned. All could be fed into this machine. And I'll walk you through the machine briefly, and then as Monica mentioned, at the end of this presentation, we'll have an opportunity for questions and answers. So here we have an overview of the machine. We'll walk into more detail in some future slides, but I wanted to highlight some key areas in this slide as well. So on the left side of your screen here, and hopefully you can see my cursor, we have the in-feed rail buffer. The pouches come in via a rail system. So this is an operator-loaded in-feed conveyor buffer system where we can hold anywhere from 16 to 18 rails on the machine at any given time. It is a customizable length. So if you need a longer buffer, we could increase this length, or a shorter buffer due to floor space reasons, we could shorten this length as well. Each rail holds anywhere from 50 to 55, 60 pouches, depending on the size of the neck of the fitment. And they are fed into the machine, and they go through what we call the lane diverter, where we have multiple different models of this machine, which we'll get into, but that will push the pouches into the proper lane of the machine, where it will then go through a pouch buffer, mainly just a holding area for the pouches before they get fed into the feeding side of the machine. They go through a coating station where we can apply a day coat with inkjet or laser coater. And we could also do some inspection in that area as well. We have our filling stations where we could do flow meters or piston pumps. Depending on the characteristics of the product, we would select whichever makes the most sense and would meet the customer's requirements. And we have our capping head where we would apply the cap, and the reject station in case of any empties, or if you run out of caps for some reason, we would reject that without filling that pouch. And then lastly, we have our exit conveyor where pouches will be laid down on their back with the fitment to the side, leading to any downstream conveying systems. Diving into it a bit further, here we have a more of an overview of the HF 1200. This is our entry-level model of the HF series machine. This machine can run up to 80 pouches a minute mechanically. So on like a 150 milliliter fill, for example, 80 pouches a minute should be no problem. The machine does have a maximum fill size of 1 liter. So if you're filling at that 1 liter size, you're probably typically running around anywhere from 30 to 40 pouches per minute, depending on the application. But on the HF 1200, you'll see on the left we have our in-feed, as I mentioned. That goes through the pouch buffer. The star system is what transfers it from the rail system over to essentially the walking beam side of the machine, where we're holding the pouches from the neck of the fitment. And we're conveying the pouches from left to right throughout the machine, all by handling it by the neck of the pouch. So below the neck, the actual pouch itself, as long as it's within the set criteria that we can handle, we really don't care how the pouch looks. It could be a die cut pouch. It could be the curved pouch to assist in holding it that Mark mentioned, or it could be a traditional Doi style pouch. After it gets transferred off of the rail system via the star system, that's where we could also apply the date code and a vision system to detect, say, the barcode matches the HMI SKU that you're running, so there's not any errors or batches being ran of the wrong product. And then we go through the filling section, the capping, and the reject station, like I had mentioned previously. An overview of the various models that we offer. Apologies for anybody in the US. Everything shown here is in millimeters, but I'll translate for you. On the HF 1200, we have the ability to run up to 80 pouches per minute, like I had mentioned, and we have the ability to run a maximum format of 160 by 300 millimeters. That's width by height, and a minimum format of 70 by 100 millimeters. For the US people, that's roughly 6.3 inches by 11.8 inches in maximum format, and the minimum is 2.75 by 3.93 inches. Again, we can run a maximum volume of 1 liter fills on this machine. The HF 1200, with the ability to have 2 different pumps and nozzles on that machine, just to maximize the output of the machine, where we're dosing in continuous motion. Whereas on the HF 2400, it's the exact same bag range. However, it does increase the output up to 160 pouches a minute because there's now 2 lanes, which we'll get into further here in a bit. And finally, the HF 4800, which is our largest machine, which is actually a 4-lane machine, can accommodate up to 8 different pumps due to the 4 different lanes, each requiring 2 pumps and nozzles. And on that machine, we have a maximum output rate of 220 pouches per minute. On these machines, like I mentioned, we offer many different pouch types. Since we hold the pouch via the neck of the fitment, we really don't care, what the design of the pouch looks like below that. It's a very flexible machine in that regard. So we can work with flat or stand-up pouches like shown on the left, or in the middle, we can do flat or stand-up pouches with a corner cap, even with a handle. And finally, we could do die-cut pouches if your marketing team wants to get a bit creative. Some of the machine highlights. On this machine, we're filling through the spout, which allows us to reduce the size of the overall pouch. In turn, would result in some savings, hopefully on the customer side. But also, by filling through the spout, we can reduce the head space up to 50% compared to a traditional filling machine where we would dose on the open void and then seal the top, where we're not dosing through the spout. If you're dosing through an open void and then sealing the top, you do have to accommodate a little bit more head space just to make sure the product doesn't get in that seal area. Whereas filling through the spout, we can minimize the pouch size, and we're not as worried about splashing within the pouch. The machine is also a modular design. I mentioned that the in-feed conveyor could be lengthened or shortened at the customer request, but also the overall machine size can be lengthened. For example, if you need a Enercon induction sealer to have that seal below the cap, that's something that we could add and expand the machine to accommodate. If you need additional dosing units, even further than the 2 on an HF 1200, we can expand the machine. It's a modular design, so we have almost complete customization ability within the machine. The machine is also very versatile. As I mentioned, since we're holding everything by the spout, you can virtually have any design of a pouch below that, as long as it's within the parameters of the previous slide that I mentioned. And decreasing raw material costs. The HF series allows for the replacement of the automatic rail loading system with a pouch forming module. So in place of the PreMade application that we're showing here, you could also have a machine that, say, inserts the spout onto a flat pouch and then gets indexed into a rail, or we can actually create the pouch from a roll, add the spout, and then put it on a rail, and then it could be manually loaded onto the HF machine. So walking through the various machines, kind of a overview of each individual layout. On the HF 1200, which can run up to 80 pouches per minute, it's a single lane machine. So pouches are fed into the machine and just indexed into the single lane. Whereas on the HF 2400, it's a 2-lane machine. Pouches have that single infeed from the original photo, but they go through what we call the smart lane diverter. So we can actually detect, say you have alternating rails, pouch A and pouch B, you can actually run each lane independently. So on lane A, you can run a orange juice, for example, whereas on lane B, you can run a apple juice. And we could detect that pouch within the rail and make sure it's diverted to the appropriate lane. On the HF 4800, it's a 4-lane machine. So again, you have the ability to run multiple different SKUs all within the confines of one machine. The machine highlights, I mentioned this, but we'll dive into it a bit further here. And we do have a video that I can show as well. So this is how the in-feed system works. You can see on the far side here, there's a kind of a notch on each side of the rail of this in-feed conveyor. That's what physically holds the rail. So your operator would load the rail onto this in-feed belt. And again, it could hold anywhere from 16 to 18 rails, which is customizable. And I mentioned the A and B side. If you can imagine, you see these blue rails versus the white rails. If you alternate those, for example, on an HF 2400, that would allow you to run 2 different applications within the same machine, and the smart diverter would divert those to the appropriate lanes. The headspace reduction, just to go into this a bit further and with the video, by filling through the spout, this is an excellent graphic here that marketing put together. A traditional machine, if you're not filling through the spout, you can see that the headspace here, roughly around 30% of this pouch, where if we fill through the spout, since we're not worried about sealing the top of the pouch, we're just applying a cap to the pouch. In this case, we're allowed to reduce the headspace in that pouch and minimize it to about 15%. And here's a video of the machine in the filling index. So it's actually continuous motion filling, again, to maximize the output of the machine. And we utilize special nozzles that we've developed in-house that have a polyurethane tip, so they make positive contact with that and minimize any splashing or dripping outside of the filling spout. Again, the star system is what takes the pouches off of the rails after they get pushed into the machine, and then indexes them and rotates them onto the walking beam side of what I'll call the filling side of the machine. During this motion here is where we have the ability to apply the date code, again, whether it be inkjet or laser. That all can be done in this area here. But we also have the ability to add a inspection system. For example, if you want to verify that that date code is either present or legible, we could add a inspection unit in this area as well, just to accommodate that. And we also have a secondary pouch inspection station, which we could apply to make sure that the barcode, for example, is what the recipe on the HMI is showing. You don't want to have an operator load up, orange juice pouches when you're running apple juice. So here we can accommodate some technology just to make sure that there's no operator error and to minimize any unfortunate mishaps. We do offer a inline spout cleaning system where we could spray filtered water on the spout before we fill, just to make sure it's before and after, depending on customer requirements, just to make sure it's a clean environment. We can also do hydrogen peroxide or just general steam, depending on the application and the customer requirements. Just a couple of summaries of the features and advantages, benefits. We won't touch on all these, but I'll go through some of the highlighted ones. Filling through the spout, again, reduces the headspace in the pouch and in turn allows you to minimize the overall size of the pouch, which hopefully will result in some savings on the customer side. The machine, like I mentioned, does have the ability to run, if you have the HF 2400 or the 4800, to run 2 different applications, all within the confines of one machine at the same time. And continuous motion filling, which increases the filling time and overall increases the line performance. We also offer a mechanical tear off. By that, I mean when we apply the cap to the spout or the fitment, It's a mechanical means, so we utilize a spring system, so the pouches are on an angle and they just get easily loaded onto the fitment. We do have an option to pre-screw that before we actually apply the servo-driven screw motor, just to make sure that the pouch is that the cap is fully applied to the spout prior to us coming in with an actual servo-driven motor to apply that screw. That results in less wear and tear, that results in decreased maintenance costs as there's virtually no maintenance required with that mechanical tear-off system. Another big highlight of this machine is just the overall compact footprint. In length, the machine is about 17 feet for those in the US. Apologies for everybody in Europe. And overall, it's about the 2400 is about 6 feet in width, whereas the HF 1200 is about 3.5 feet in width. And overall machine height's around 7, it varies 7 to 8 feet depending on the application. And one thing that we'll highlight here in a bit, but also wanted to point out, we do have a very unique business model based on the machine. We're able to work with pretty much any pouch as long as the neck stays consistent across all your SKUs, then there's no change parts required in order to convey the pouch throughout the machine. All of our machines are outfitted with what we call Mespack Athena. Mespack Athena is it's on the HMI. It's a digital user interface, a digital platform, if you will, that accommodates a lot of different functions across an organization. It simplifies the operator experience, so it requires less clicks to get to any given task throughout the HMI. But it's also a very good data collection asset within an organization. For example, you can utilizing this Athena software, you can track what are the main stoppages of the machine, why if say you had a report at the end of the day that showed 20 pouches being rejected, you can dive into the details of why were those pouches rejected. You can access all of this remotely if you have the cloud version of Athena or the on-premise version if your IT for whatever reason wouldn't allow for that. You can access that on-site at the machine level. If it's remotely, you can access this via an iPad. So if you can imagine, if you have multiple different facilities, each with their own machine, remotely you can dial in and see real-time data of how the machine's performing, what are the top reasons for rejects, what are the top reasons for stoppages, and this can help drive overall operating efficiencies in the sense that you can be a little more pointed in what you need to focus your efforts on from a maintenance perspective. In this, you also have a document reader embedded on the HMI, so you can pull up the actual manuals of the machine. If a operator, doesn't understand what part number something is, he can easily open up that via the HMI and help diagnose and identify what part number that is. And with an introduction that we'll be showing at Pack Expo this year, we're also showcasing a feature that we call Hello Mespack, which will allow any given operator to reach out to a customer support or service representative of Mespack in real time. So on the back of an HMI, we can ship the machine with an iPad, which you can dial in through a Teams call for remote assistance. One of the main benefits of our strategic partnership with Fuji Seal and Mespack is the all-inclusive sales contract, as we deem it. What this is basically a go-to-market strategy or a agreement that we've placed with Fuji Seal, where a customer can either buy a machine directly through Fuji Seal or Mespack, or we can do what we call the all-inclusive sales contract, where we can bundle aftermarket service and support, say quarterly service visits, a spare parts package for a year or two, depending on what the customer's requirements are, along with a sales contract with the film to create a kind of a pay-as-you-go strategy as a form of sales contract. So this is a very unique kind of go-to-market strategy that we're now offering, and we're hoping that this could open the door to some more entry-level customers that may not have that original CapEx ability to buy a machine outright.
Yeah, maybe I can build on that a bit.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So indeed, we're very open to support that financial aspect of this introduction of a new technology. Assuming you're replacing rigid packaging today with flexible packaging tomorrow, then there is obviously the aspect of the infrastructure that needs to change, and that there is an investment that comes along with that. And this could be something where you would require some support. I think the more let's say beneficial aspect of the same support here is that we guide you through this change of technology. So we've seen that in shrink sleeve technology in history, that it was somehow challenging for people to apply whatever a 30 micron piece of plastic onto a bottle with the speed of God knows what. Whereas typically you would have physical contact between a PSL label and a bottle. So today, if you move from rigid into flexible packaging, there's also all sorts of new challenges that you may need to overcome. And in this all-inclusive sales contract, we aim to support you in that and to make sure that we guide you where you maybe encounter issues that you would maybe not want to challenge your own. So that's, I think, there's also a practical aspect besides the financing of this of the equipment. Yeah.
Thank you, Mark.
I think that leads us into a video that summarizes, I think, most of what we've said. Is that correct, Monica?
Yeah, this is correct. It's in order to summarize all what we have said here, but very quickly, and then we will go to the questions and answers session.
American Fuji Seal and Mespack announces a strategic partnership. American Fuji Seal and Mespack announces a strategic partnership. An all-inclusive sales contract for filling pre-made pouches. In regard to filling pre-made pouches, the Mespack HF series machines are known for their exceptional versatility, with cutting-edge filling technology through the spout. These machines ensure superior accuracy and reduce product waste, which minimizes headspace by up to 15%. The HF series accommodates a wide range of pouch sizes and formats, hence catering to diverse product and packaging needs. In our pursuit to create ever-innovating packaging for your product, we introduce the Fuji pouch. A one-pouch body that can be adapted through the cap, which transforms it into either a bottle or a tube. And curved shapes for a more comfortable grip. For the same product volume, we reduce the package weight. The Fuji pouch offers the same user experience as regular packaging types, but uses less space and less packaging weight, while the pouch body enables less waste of product and packaging material. Important features that add to the Fuji pouch's carbon footprint, which makes it a sustainable packaging solution that contributes to a better environment. Get in touch to find out how your product can benefit from the Fuji pouch.
Okay, so thank you both for your participation, Mark and Kyle. So this topic discover groundbreaking innovations in PreMade pouch filling solutions has been very interesting, providing value insights into the latest pouches made by Fuji and detailed explanation about HF series from Mespack. With such engagement audience, let's move on the round of questions and answers. Remember that you have the questions and answers section here that you can write your question, and we will speak about the answer of this question, okay, for you. So let's go. We have some questions on the screen. So the first one is, can you work with die-cut pouches?
Yes, we can work with die-cut pouches as long as since we handle the pouches on the HF machine via the neck of the spout, as long as the neck of the spout remains consistent, whether you're running a die-cut pouch or a traditional pouch, we have no issue with running a die-cut pouch.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say the same goes for the making of the pouch. Indeed, same story. We can die cut indeed, obviously in the pouch making process. Yeah.
Okay, thank you both. There are another attendee that asks, how are pouches discharged off the machine?
So we have what we call a outfeed belt that runs perpendicular to the machine. So at the discharge, the pouches are laid flat on the length side on the conveyor with the spout on the side. So they'll be laying flat to assist any downstream equipment.
Yeah, I guess that the whole story around pouches, introducing pouches into the machine and taking pouches from the machine is there's a lot to change yet still to grow. Supply chains often look at pouch machines as standalone equipment, but gradually they'll be more integrated into the full production scheme, and loading of machines and unloading of machines, depending on speeds, ultimately will be dealt with robotica as well. Today maybe manually into boxes, or maybe through loading belts into boxes or from boxes into the machine. But there's still a lot of development ongoing there. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Another question is, can you work with pouches with a corner and top spout?
Yes. Again, as long as the neck of the spout remains consistent, you can have both corner spouted pouches and top spouted pouches run on the machine at the same time even.
Okay, perfect. There, another attendee asks, is it possible to work with Fuji inverted spout in the Mespack machine?
Yeah,
Sorry.
well, I'll leave that gladly to you.
Sorry, could you repeat that?
Yeah. Is it possible to work with Fuji inverted spout in the Mespack machine?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, the only thing about the inverted pouch is that it's made in the exact same way as the regular one. The only thing is that you have a big cap and you put it on its cap on the shelf. The pouch itself is identical to the pouch that would stand on its feet, if you will.
Yeah, as Mark mentioned, it's virtually the exact same operation throughout our machine. We would apply the cap in the exact same way. The only difference is in most of our inverted applications, we're applying that Enercon induction seal under the cap on top of that spout.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. More questions. Hello. Is the alliance Fujisil and Mespack valid only for North America? Elsewhere?
Obviously, for Europe and North America both, and we focus a bit here on North America, I suppose, because we're close to PMMI. We'll be at Mespack both, and we'll be showing the HF series there. We'll be showing the Fuji pouch shapes there, and we'll be discussing with customers what is possible and what is not possible. And that's where there's maybe a bit of a bias towards North America, but in Europe it would work in the exact same way. We would have the partnership would function as it does in the States, with the equipment coming from Mespack and the pre-made pouches or the laminate coming from Fuji Seal. Yeah.
Okay, so we are now closing the webinar. Sorry, because we are around of the time, and so if there are more questions from you, you can address to our email, okay, and we will answer to you. So thank you, Mark and Mike, and thanks to all of you for your trust and for being with us today. We invite you to connect at Mespack as well as Fujisil for any questions. We encourage you to contact by sending an email to marketing@mespack.com. If it's a question for Fujisil, we will forward to them and they will contact to you directly. And if it's a question for Mespack, so we will contact you as well. So looking forward to seeing you soon at our next Smart Talks, and have a great afternoon and best regards. Thank you very much to all of you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.